Check, check. Loop back audio. How we doing? Loop back. Loop back, loop back. Good. Sweet. Don't know why I don't have loop back in the mixer. Loop back. Yo, excellent. Loop back. Hey. Okay. That's strange. Yo, excellent. Cool. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in just a little bit. Very excited to have you all here. It is 3 o'clock. Oh, let me see if I'm going to. Cool. Awesome. Great. So we are here back on Soundtrap.com, and we're doing some audio editing and some composition and having a good time. So last time we started a project that we called Bop Till You Drop, and because everything is stored right on the cloud, we are going to jump right back into it. But first, let me introduce myself. If you were not here yesterday, my name is Spencer. I am the Senior Manager of Teaching and Learning at Little Kids Rock. This lesson, we're going to talk about Soundtrap. If you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to email livestream@littlekidsrock.org. That's the email address on the screen. And if you are a teacher who is looking to start using Soundtrap with your students, go to soundtrap.futuresimple.com. And they can hook you up with some great offers if you are a teacher who is now dealing with some remote learning. But whether you are a teacher or whether you're a student, we're going to start making some music. So I'm really excited about this. So we are going to go into the studio on Soundtrap, and we have a few features that we are going to talk about today that I am super excited about because they're some of my favorite features in the Soundtrap software. All right, so we've got the project that we started last time. As you see, it takes a little hot second to load. Let's just give it a quick listen to remind ourselves. So we had that drum beat, we had that bass part that we found, and then we had all these other elements that we were messing around with. We played in this percussion part, we played in that percussion part, and then we had that little melody that was coming on. So today we're going to get into a few other of the production features. So let's say that I have this beat here that originally I pulled from the loops, but I'm not really feeling it anymore. I'm not going to delete it because I might want to use it later, but for right now I'm just going to mute it. So you see this little X with the microphone here? I'm going to click that, and that's going to mute the track. So that way I won't hear it anymore, just the bass sound. And I'm going to add some of my own drums in using the beat pattern maker, which I'm very excited about. So I'm going to hit add new track, and I'm going to go to the drum and beats. And the first thing that pops up is this beat pattern maker. And you will see that we have these different instruments. We got this grid here, and all I have to do is just click some of these boxes, and it will start playing. Now I'm going to also mute this bass so I can hear just the drums that I'm working with. I'm going to click back on this, and here is my pattern. So right now just kick and snare. So everything, you can see everything I make this light purple on the kick pattern is going to play a kick sound. And then the second row, I've got snares. Very common for a snare to be played at the beginning of beat 2 and beat 3. So you can see these are sort of divided into groups of 4. These are like the 4 beats in a measure divided into the 16th notes. So I can add some hi-hats to make it kind of pop. If I want to get a little funky with it, add some extra 16th notes. All right, cool. Excellent. So once I am satisfied with that, if I'm like, all right, I'm vibing with this beat, I might add another right there. That was good. Okay. So now that I have a beat that I am happy with, I can exit out the beat pattern maker, and I have that beat right here in my project. So if you're not very good at performing the beats on the keyboard, or you don't know how to write them out any other way, you can just open up this beat pattern maker and you can start making beats right away. And so now I have this bit right here. If I like it a lot, I can drag it out and have it play for multiple sections. Or let's say I wanted to have it play for 2 measures with that beat, and then I wanted to change it a little bit. I'm going to copy and paste it. So I'm going to click it, hit Command C and Command V, just as if I were copying and pasting like a text document. And then I'm going to double click again. And let's say I want to take out the hi-hat, and let's turn it into a different instrument. So right here, I can go to hi-hat, and I can hit the little drop down, and I can pick any other instrument that I want in this. So let's do a high tom and see what that sounds like. Okay. Maybe mix up the kick pattern a little bit. So even if you don't even know what you're doing musically, you can still have some fun with it. I would recommend from a starting off point to just make sure you get your snare hits on those big beats 2 and 4, and then everything else just have a little bit of fun with. If you want to add extra snare hits, of course you can do that, but this is a really great place to start. So now I've got 2 different patterns. So when I play my project, I've got 1 beat, and then it's going to switch to the other beat that I want. Now, if I want to take any of these beats and make them even more complicated, I totally can. So if I double click on this beat, I can add instruments. So if I want to add, I can look, I could just, wow, this could just go on forever. I could make this really complicated with a lot of different instruments, but that's a little bit much. I'm going to start with just 4. Sometimes less is more. So I'm going to add a little open hi-hat where the closed hi-hats aren't playing. And let's see what that sounds like. All right, solid. And if you remember last time we were doing the quantizing, after we played something, we would quantize it. So that would lock it into the grid. This sort of automatically quantizes it. So we don't even have to worry about quantizing, because by clicking this cell right here, we're saying play that right on the grid in that spot. So this is a really fun way to kind of come up with some beat patterns of our own. So let's unmute that bass now, and let's listen back. All right, so I'm going to change my pattern a little bit so that it moves when the rest of the pattern changes. So I've got this sort of like first groove, and then it's going to go into this second groove right here. And let's see what is going on there. And the change. All right, now to get into a little bit of more audio editing, let's say that we only want certain parts of these. And I will also remind you all that the URL on the screen, live stream at littlekidsrock.org. Please send your questions, comments, anything you want to know. We have a live monitor there who will be taking your questions and presenting them to me. Let's say I take this piano part, and the piano part is, it's 4 measures long. I pulled it from the loop section last time, but let's say I only want part of it. Like, I only like the first chord. I just want that one. That's all I want. I'm going to solo it right now just so you can hear just that. I just want that one. Actually, I like that one. That one's really good. That one's kind of dark and mysterious sounding. I want just this one. I don't want the first one. I don't want the third one. I just want the second one. So I'm going to drag the playhead right before the one that I want. I'm going to hit edit, And that's not the one that I want. And I'm going to, oh, there it is. So I'm going to take this little marker right here. I'm going to drag it to be right before that. And I'm going to take this one at the end and I'm going to drag it right before that. So if there's a section of a loop that I like a lot, I can take just that. And now when I go to drag it out into the loop, it's only just that one chord that I like. So don't think that just because you like one part of a loop, but not the whole thing, that you have to stick to the entirety of that loop. You can take just a little piece of it if you want. And that's a really fun thing, is that it allows you to take these pre-written elements and really customize them, make them your own. So even if you're thinking to yourself like, well, I don't know how to play an instrument, it doesn't really matter. You can still make something that's really unique. Like think of there's an infinite combination of all these different loops, infinite combination of all the different ways you can edit them. And let's listen to what we've got so far. So we're going to go back. Our drum beat at the top is still muted, but we've got this section. And next part. All right, now I want to start thinking a little more formally about this. So if I were thinking of a song might have an intro section where there's just a couple instruments. So that could be these first 4 bars here, where there's just 2 instruments playing, the drum beat and the bass. And then it might have a verse that has more instruments come in. And then maybe along with that verse, you might have a vocalist come in and do some work. So I'm not going to add any vocals just yet, but I'm going to start thinking of this whole thing that way. And I'm going to move my little melody a little further over so it doesn't come in just yet. So right now I'm going to have a verse, and if I wanted my verse to be 8 bars long, which is this, this is something that I could sing over, something that I could rap over, something that I could speak over. And then it could go into the melody, which could be part of a hook. So maybe the melody is going on in the background as sort of like a hook, something to really like draw the listener in. This is the climactic moment. This is the chorus. Now, if I want to copy any of these elements, I definitely might want to do that. But sometimes it's nice to make a little bit of musical variation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of these musical elements and I'm going to vary them a little bit using the loop feature and finding similar ones. So notice how each of these has a name. Like my bass is called bass cat C minor. I'm going to go to my loops and I'm going to search for bass cat and see what I have. So we have bass cat and there's bass cat 2. Bass cat 3. Bass cat 4. So they're all kind of similar, but each a little bit different. So what's cool about that is these different sounds that you can use. They're categorized so that way if one person makes some sounds and makes like 4 or 5 different variations on a similar sound, they name them the same. So I can take bass cat 4, which is a little busier and like a little bit more exciting. So that way when we go from this if I want it to be the chorus and a more exciting part of the song, I also maybe want the bass to get a little bit more exciting. So that's like a similar sounding bass, but it's a little bit more exciting. And let's see if we can do the same thing with Beanie. Let's see what else is named Beanie. All right, that's like really straight ahead, which I actually kind of like because it's like, it just kind of drives. Let's see if we can try a couple other of those. Oh, I like this one because it's got a big clap. That one's pretty cool. All right, let's add that one in. And actually, let's try those out together. And if I only want one part of it, remember I can just say I only like the first part of this. So I'm going to take this part right here. I'm going to shorten it so that way I'm only hearing that first bit. And then some elements, it's nice musically to keep them the same. So I'm going to take these two elements here. We've got the drum beat that we played as well as that piano part. And let's just keep those the same and keep them all locked in. And then that other drum beat that I played, let's do the intro one. Let's see what that one sounds like here. I'm going to copy that first part, paste it over here, and drag it out. So we're already kind of creating the bones of a song. So we've got, if we want to think about it in sections, we've got this first part here, which is our intro. And then a verse that we could sing along with. Continue that going. You might want to just start humming along with it. Chorus. Oh, and as you see, I messed that up there by some of my things didn't copy all the way. So I'm going to move here. Can I split by? Oh, sorry about that. We can take all these different elements here. Let's take this chorus here because we're going to have to get this to keep repeating. Copy and paste that. And let's do it 4 times. 4 times is a pretty good amount of times for things to happen. So let's just drag all of this out so that it happens 4 times each. So we have our intro, then we have our verse, and then we have our chorus. So already we are going from yesterday, which was basically just like, oh, we made a beat. That repeats over and over again. Repeating beat, yada, yada, yada. Now we've got some variety in it. So this is going to help the listener to get help to keep that listener engaged. Now, obviously, if I want to add more elements to the chorus, I totally can. If I want to, create another beat there, that's totally fine. If I want to add in some more loops, that's totally fine. There's so many different options of things that I can do there. So already we're looking at what we've got. All right, so we've got all these different things going on here. The next step that I want to think about in terms of music production, so we've got thinking a little bit about form. If we made, let's say, this part as our verse, this part's our chorus. Another element we want to think about is called mixing. And mixing is basically thinking about all the different musical elements that you have and how loud everything is. So if I have everything playing here, I have these little volume knobs here on the left. Each instrument has its own little volume knob. And this is a fun way to think about how loud everything should be in the mix. If everything's the exact same volume, it might get a little bit chaotic. Like things that you want to be present in the mix, like you want the voice to come out because that's often singing the melody. But for example, if like the bass is too loud and it just overpowers everything, it's just like all I hear is bass. I would like something besides that. So let's go through and adjust some of these levels and see how things sound as I bring them in and out of the mix. So let's take this keyboard part and bring it up. A little bit loud. I'm going to take some of these percussion parts and bring them down a little bit so they're like nice and quiet in the background. So that's this part. These little scratches. And again, I can listen to just those individual parts by hitting these little headphones. The little headphones means solo, which means only play this. I only want to hear this. And if I hit the little microphone, that means mute, which means don't play this. So I'm listening to these things. So these little scratches in the whole mix. And I'm actually going to move my looper here so I can hear that. I like that hi-hat pretty loud in the mix, actually. If we take that bit down. Now let's go to the chorus, and let's see how loud this melody is. Because it was really loud, which I think I want it a little bit further back. Like, I want it to be there, but I don't want it to be, like, overwhelming. All right, so there we go. So we can go in and we can mix things up a little bit. I'm actually going to layer this a little bit. I'm going to duplicate this meow lead. Don't forget the meow lead. That's where it's at. And rather than having it on a meow, I'm also going to put it on a piano. Let's see, grand piano. And I'm going to see what this sounds like, because I think this will sound really cool actually doubled. That's cool. So now we've got these two different sounds working together, this sort of like synthy sound as well as this acoustic sound, the piano sound, working together to sort of make this new sound. And I want the piano to be a little bit more forward. So I'm going to turn the meow down a little bit and turn the piano up a little bit. All right. So that is a little bit of a next steps on Soundtrap. So we can search for elements. Remember, anything that you drag in, a lot of them are in groups and sort of in like these families. For instance, like this is this whole one called Anthem that are all similar. If I keep scrolling down, like this is a Music Maker's one, but bass aggressor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are all similar. Bass alarm 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a great way to find sounds that are similar. So that way, if you want to add variety to your song, but without having it sound like it's shifting to an entirely different sound, you want it to sound similar enough so that it's relevant. All right, we're closing in to, we're past the 3:20 mark, so I just want to have a chance to take some questions. Let me see if the live stream has been generating any questions, and I will take those. All right, question we got is, in the drum grid and beat, can you go any smaller than 16ths? That is a great question. Let me look at that. I don't actually know the answer, but I think the options, I think 16th note, I don't see a way to change the subdivision to be anything smaller than a 16th note. So I think that 16th note is our option. Other than the 30-day trial that Soundtrap offers, is LKR offering anything? Little Kids Rock is currently not offering anything, but if you go to soundtrap.futuresimple.com, which is the URL on the screen, that will get you in touch with Soundtrap, and they can help you out. They're helping out a lot of teachers, giving them Soundtrap sessions through the end of the school year. So if you want to be able to do this with your students, and again, a reminder that I'm using this on a computer right now, just because it's a little bit easier, especially if I'm broadcasting it to you all. But remember that you can use it on a cell phone. This is just a cloud-based thing. So if I wanted to take this project somewhere on my cell phone, I can pull it up there. If you want to do it on a tablet, as long as you have internet access and a screen of any kind, you can go to soundtrap.com, log in, and pull up your projects. I also want to shout out the fact that next week we've got some sessions coming up. So if you have questions or concerns or specific things about sessions that you want to ask about, definitely email us at livestream@littlekidsrock.org. We want to make sure that our sessions are geared towards what you and your students are most needing right now. But next week, we've got 2 sessions going forward. We've got a one on some pop acoustic guitar playing, as well as one on playing some Latin bass rhythms. So make sure you check in next Monday at 12 and 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We are doing live sessions every day for 30 minutes on those times. So make sure you set your calendar. If you go to jamzone.littlekidsrock.org, you can also see our full list of offerings. We're planning these out, making sure that we are getting you what you need so you can see those schedules and use those going forward. I'm just going to check to see if we got any more questions. Next week, I'm very excited. Next week, I'm going to be doing a session on using audio in Soundtrap. So we're going to be recording some instruments. We're going to be recording some voice. You do not need to have a microphone because whatever device you're using, be it a laptop, a tablet, or a cell phone, has a microphone built into it. Headset makes things better, but not even required. As long as you have your device, then you are good to go. All right, so we've got the loops here. We've got the playback section. I'm going to kind of like mess around with my project a little bit for the next few minutes because I've got some time. So I'm going to try and like enhance this a little bit, and I'm going to talk through what I'm going through. I went over my major teaching points that I wanted to cover, but I want to see if I can make this project even a little bit cooler. That piano's way too loud. Let's bring that down in the mix. I love that bass change. It's like similar, but good enough of a mix. Excellent. Oh, I just got one new question, which is, can you add distortion to the parts? Yes, you definitely can. And I am going to be getting into the audio editing side of things next week. So when we do some guitar recording, when we do some vocal recording, I'll also be getting into all the effects that I can use. So right now I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to make my project a little bit bigger. Edit. And I'm going to split this region so that way I can copy and paste all of this over again. So my song is going to be verse, chorus, and I'm going to copy and paste everything one more time so it's verse, chorus. Look at that. So now we have this little intro here, which goes into this chorus section, this verse section. Live again to the chorus. And let's hear how it sounds going back into the verse. Make sure there's a smooth transition there. These claps are on like the end 4. And I'm back into a verse. Gonna do a verse. And back into the verse. Things going, verse going on. Lots of verse stuff. Verse. Let's bring it up back to a chorus. And there we have it, a bop until we drop. All right. We got one new question, which is Kendall asks if you can change the chords of the song. So the way that you can change chords of a song, for example, if you have this keyboard part here. There's a couple different things you can do. You can change the key of your recording. So for example, if I'm in C minor and I wanted to go to D flat minor, bring it down a little bit, I could actually bring the whole project down, and now it's going to be a half step lower. In terms of the preset loops, for example, this chord, it actually depends. If I'm playing in the parts on like MIDI, then I could change the chords if I wanted to, because if I have, for example, my meow lead, I can play, you know, this is a great sound. And I can play the chords that I wanted to. If I wanted to change the chords manually, with something like this piano, I actually could because it's MIDI information. And so all I did was I just double clicked on the file and got that. So this allows me to like open up this MIDI information and go into that. If it's the audio information like this, the only way I can do it with is this. So if I wanted to say like bring it back down to C minor, those are the only ways in which I can change the chords. So if you are really particular about the chords that you want in your song, I would definitely recommend either programming them in on the MIDI or playing them on an instrument like we are going to do last time. All right, we got one more question. Can you choose just one or two tracks to share and have someone else each add those tracks into their project? Yes, so you can, using Soundtrap for Education, you can create templates that students can use. So for example, if you had a backing track that was made up of a bass line and a drum part, you could create a backing track, and then an assignment could be for a student to, you know, record a separate part over that. So using Soundtrap for Education, you can share templates that other people can use. Also, if I wanted to add people onto my project, I totally could. I would just have to invite other people that I know are on Soundtrap, and they could come in and start working on my project, just as if it were like a Google Doc. It is wrapping up to 3:31. If you are watching this live stream later, or if you have any last minute questions that pop into your head, definitely email us at livestream@littlekidsrock.org, and we will be checking out and answering those questions. So even if you're missing the live broadcast of the stream, don't worry, we're going to get to your questions. So everyone have an amazing, wonderful weekend. We wish you all the best. Thank you for tuning in to the live lessons with Little Kids Rock. Make sure for more lessons, song charts, videos, click the links in the description, and stay in touch. Have an awesome day, everyone.